Hey everyone, someone had asked me if I could show how I built these bunkers, and I'll be glad to do that at a later point, but I just wanted to show that actually this is built from a Games Workshop pattern, which comes out of the 4th edition rulebook, page 199. So all I did when I made those bunkers is you print out 2 of these sheets, and it gives you enough of everything, and you just cut it out, stick it together, and it's done. So if people would still like me to build one of those, I'll be glad to show it at a later point. But what this video is about is building one of these type structures. So what you'll need is some type of cutting board. I'm using wood glue to stick it together, but PVA glue, whatever, white glue should be fine. A ruler, cardstock, foam core, which is what's going to form these outside walls. Corrugated cardboard with the spaces in it like this, that's what's going to make our roof. And you do need cardstock. That's what I used for the door and this part in the back right here. Now of course, if you want, you could actually cut the door out. If you have door bits, you can use those instead. You can actually put windows in here if you want, or bullet damage. You could do pretty much anything to it. But talking about that, I'll just jump ahead real quick here. So after I built it, I spray painted it silver. If you're going to do that, if you cut out the doors and windows, or you want to put bullet holes, something like that in there, spray paint it first and then put the bullet holes in it. And if you cut out the doors and windows, I would take Scotch tape and just stick it to the inside, because the spray paint will dissolve the foam on the inside. Just a quick note on that. And then these little rivets, all I did to get those is put a dot of super glue gel, and when it dried and you paint over it, it looks like that. Now you're going to need something to make your perfect circle. So if you have a what do they call it, a drafting compass, that'll work. What I'm going to use, which is a pretty good size, is just a CD. And I'm going to trace around it. That's why I need my pen. It seems like I'm forgetting something. The other thing I use is, when pulling this backing off of one side of the cardboard, sometimes you get that glue left. So this is just a sanding sponge. They use it for like drywall. When they fix the drywall, and then they just make it flat. So I take that and I just ran it between the grooves, and it takes off all the glue and the excess pieces without making it too difficult. So that's what we're going to need, and we'll get started. So for the first part, I'm going to take the foam core. I'm going to hold the CD down, and I'm just going to run around the edges of it. Now when I do this, I'm going to make a couple of passes, and I'm also going to push down, because that'll give me a groove, make it easier when cutting this out. So once you have your circle, just pick 2 points and measure halfway across. By doing this, make 2 lines and just connect them, and that will give you 2 equal halves. Again, put a little force, get you that groove. And that should be pretty much dead center, 2 equal halves. So next part is cutting this out. So when cutting this out, I just cut through the first layer of paper. Trying to do it around the camera, it's not so easy. That score line where you press it in with the pen just kind of guides it, makes it easy. So all I got to do is break the surface of the first paper on the first run. And then just go back and put a little force behind it to finish the cut through the back part of the paper. Once again, your first line is going to act more as a guide this time as well. And there you go. And there we got our two sides. As you can see, they're pretty even. And a craft knife is another thing you'll need. I didn't mention that. So let's set those aside. And now we just need to start pulling off one side of our cardboard. And this part tends to be the one that's a pain. And you can see how the glue likes to catch. And with this, you just make it as wide as you want the building to be long. So if you want a really long one, then you just cut the cardboard longer. Have kind of like a munitions storage. Couldn't talk there for a second. And you can use your pen to help with this part. Just run your pen down through the groove. So I'm going to go and clear this off. I think you have the point. I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole thing. I'll be back. And just to show the sanding sponge, when you have these pieces like this, you just run it through there. Takes them right off. Can't imagine these things cost too much, but I think you can get them from dollar stores if you're in the US. Just use that to get your smooth roof. Another thing you can do with this cardboard is if you wanted to add like windows, you could cut like a shingle. Get a couple of toothpicks and either have it down or have the toothpicks propping it up so that it's open above the window. Just an idea. I'm going to try that with one of them, but I haven't done it yet. See how It's all but the most stubborn pieces. But I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll go to the next step. Now, that being done, take your piece and go from one end to the other to see where you need to cut off. And then you cut this down. Grab your glue. Just put it along your edges, the round edges. And stick your roof on. Just set it flat and hold it in place until it seals. Now, one thing to note, if you're actually going to cut the doors and windows out of this, I would do it before you actually glue it on here to make it easier. So there's one side down. Just basically do the same to the other side. Glue up the edges. And stick it in place. Then hold. Now the key here is make sure you line up both sides where the ends of the roof meet the bottom of the wall. Okay, if you're not paying attention, you'll end up with a gap on this side and this side will overhang, and that is not what you want. And there you go. That's a little damage I did with the pen sticking it through there. So, quick and simple. Now just spray paint it silver. Dress it up with cardstock or bits or whatever you want to do. And you got you a nice little building. So, hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, take care.